Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to talk about the shocking announcement that the Batgirl movie has been shelved completely from release. In the astounding news, the upcoming superhero project that was due for release on HBO Max in 2023 has been completely axed by Warner Bros. Discovery. No release theatrically or streaming, the movie is just gone, just thrown by the wayside completely. Now, as we all know, the movie had actress Leslie Grace in the lead role as Barbara Gordon. J.K. Simmons was to continue his role as Commissioner Gordon, as what we saw from the 2017 Justice League movie. Brendan Fraser was to play the villain Firefly, and most noticeably, Michael Keaton was to reprise his iconic role as the Cape Crusader, from which we all assume was going to be part of the multiversal effects seen from the Flash movie, which, as we know so far, is still due for release in 2023. Now, the effects from that movie would establish a new timeline of which the Batgirl story would be part of. Now, the Batgirl movie itself was budgeted at around $75 to $90 million and had already completed filming some time ago and was ready to go. And we hadn't really heard of any previous behind-the-scenes drama or controversy surrounding the movie. Prior to this announcement, there was nothing there to suggest that the movie wouldn't indeed be released. Now, there has been talk of the test screenings for the film and that they garnered a lot of negative reactions. Now, when that happens, the normal process is to carry out reshoots. So you just go over the movie and you try and fix whatever issues that were indicated during the test screenings in hope that the finished product will be far more improved. You don't just cancel the movie. Now, there have been other outlets that have stated that the cost of releasing the movie theatrically would be too high and the studio felt that the movie wasn't worthy enough to incur those costs. But if that's true, then that's something that you really should have thought of before greenlighting the movie in the first place. Now, many have stated that this project was made under the previous regime at Warner Bros., with the likes of Ann Sernoff and Jason Kilar in charge. And if this movie had been released under the new rule of David Zaslav from Discovery, then it likely wouldn't have been made, or certainly it wouldn't have been made for around $75 to $90 million. Because we all know that Zaslav wants to reduce the costs in terms of the DC content and prioritise on the huge theatrical releases, not the mid-budget releases on HBO Max. He wants to limit that type of content to $35 million in budget. And we've certainly seen the ripple effect from his manifesto with the cancellation of nearly all of the DC Arrowverse shows from the likes of Batwoman, Legends of Tomorrow, Naomi, and most recently with the announcement of The Flash, which will come to an end in its 9th and final season with a shortened amount of 13 episodes. So I do understand that this is all part of the change of organisation, but to completely cancel this movie and essentially throw money away, I think it's just absolute madness. Now, people will say that had it released in cinemas, it may have flopped, but you don't know that. There have been plenty of films that have had lots of behind-the-scenes dramas and troubles in terms of their production, and have still gone on to be huge box office successes. And I think with a budget of around up to $90 million, Batgirl would have needed to gross around $300 million worldwide to start seeing any type of profit, and I think that was doable, especially with the likes of Michael Keaton being involved. So you could have hinged very much of all of the nostalgia, and if by some miracle you did release the Flash movie in cinemas and that had a very good success, then you could have fed off that success and helped propel Batgirl to be more prominent within cinemas. But if you didn't want to release it in cinemas, at least release it on HBO Max so it could at least garner you some subscribers and give you some sort of revenue from those subscribers, or at the very least put it on a home or digital release so you could at least garner some sort of revenue from that format. But don't completely scrap it. I just think it's absolutely crazy. Now, I do believe there's actually something going on here in terms of the Flash movie, because as we all know, Batgirl was a result of the new established timeline that would be established from the Flash movie. So has there been a change in the decision? Has there been a change in what direction they're going forward in terms of this Flash movie? We all know it's not due for release until June 2023. So they've got plenty of time to make further changes and reshoots if they need to. We all know the drama surrounding Ezra Miller, of which we're pretty much certain that whatever resolution comes to the end of that story, the end result will see a new actor cast in the role as the Flash. We also had the recent discovery that Ben Affleck will be appearing in an end credit scene within Aquaman 2. So again, this is speculating that this will lead on to the events within the Flash movie itself. So without having any evidence to substantiate this, I think there's something gone on in terms of the change of direction of the Flash movie, and it's meant that they're no longer going to go in this new timeline involving Batgirl or indeed Michael Keaton or indeed J.K. Simmons, and that's why they felt it was far easier to just scrap this movie completely rather than go ahead with it, and then that could cause further confusion with audiences if they do decide to take a different direction with the Flash movie. I think it also brings into question how much does Zaslav really prioritise HBO Max as a streaming platform. Now, on the one hand, I think it's good that he wants to cut down costs, because we've seen with Netflix, for example, how much they blow on the big massive budgets for their shows. So I think it's good that Zaslav wants to certainly keep an eye on how much these shows are costing. But at the same time, if you do indeed want to promote your streaming platform, then you do indeed have to make sure that there is a certain amount of quality going forward to attract more viewers to that streaming platform. So will this mean later on down the line that we'll see far less quality in terms of releases regarding Warner Brothers and the content on HBO Max? And when Zaslav wants to focus far more on huge theatrical releases, that's fine, but you also have to remember that you can't just put out the big names in terms of cinematic releases and just automatically think they're going to be successful. This is what caused the problems of the Snyderverse to begin with, right? Because they felt they had the name recognition with the certain characters. When you talk about the likes of Superman, Batman and Wonder Woman, you can't just put movies out there and just hopefully generate $1 billion. You have to make sure that you invest properly in terms of the characters and the storylines, and make sure you put out good product and good content. And certainly announcing movies and then cancelling them doesn't elicit a lot of confidence within your viewers or your fan base. And I just think it's funny again, looking at all the criticism that Marvel has received regarding its Phase 4, especially its Disney Plus shows. But at the very least, they still have a plan, right? They still have a coherent direction that they're going in, and they've got enough stability to announce Phases 5 and Phase 6 in terms of their overall content. That is light years away from what we're seeing with Warner Brothers now, where they can't even release movies on a consistent basis. We're still very much in limbo as to whether the Snyderverse is coming to an end or not. We're still questioning Henry Cavill's involvement in Superman. Is he in or is he out? We've got all the controversies surrounding Amber Heard and Aquaman and Ezra Miller regarding The Flash. It's just a complete mess, and this announcement again does nothing to really build any further confidence or assurance in terms of Warner Brothers and where they're going regarding their superhero content. And I just think it's crazy the fact that you've completed a movie, you've finished it, you've put it forward for test screeners, and then you just decide not to air it at all in terms of theatrical or streaming platform. I just think it's absolutely crazy. But we will see what happens and follows through next in terms of the ramifications going forward for Warner Brothers. I just think it's very unfortunate for everybody involved in terms of the movie, in terms of the actors and actresses who spent many months making this film, not to have it realised at all on streaming or indeed theatrical. I just think it's a shame. It's a bit of a kick in the face really for everybody who's worked hard on this film. But we'll see what happens in terms of any further updates, and of course if I do hear anything more, I will try and provide coverage on you within this channel as always. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings on the recent shocking announcement that the Batgirl movie is to be completely scrapped, not being shown in theatres or indeed streaming. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this was a good decision, as you didn't have much confidence in the Batgirl movie anyway? Or do you think it's a shame, as Batgirl could have potentially been a very good sizable box office success, and this could have led on to further characters within the Bat family being shown? What effect do you think this has going forward in terms of the direction that Warner Brothers wants to take the DC content? Do you think this will have any ramifications going forward for The Flash or Black Adam or indeed Shazam? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.